Julie Foudy, we just witnessed the U.S. beat France by a final score of 2-0. Coming off the performance against Sweden on the weekend where the U.S. saw their winning streak snapped at 16 games. A pretty good turnaround, no?
Yeah, I do think it was good, although it was not nearly the contest they had against Sweden. I mean, this was a French team that was depleted. Mind you, this depleted French team did beat England on Friday 3-1, but you didn't have any of the Lyon players. So Reynard, Henry, Majri. I mean, you go down the list of players, Cascarino, that they were missing. The only one they had from Lyon was Les Sommer because of the COVID outbreak. And then for some reason, I think maybe an injury, Diani did not play today, who is another one of their players. Katoto only got a half. Baltimore only got a half. And so this clearly wasn't a French team that was at full strength. But I still think it was a cleaner performance by the United States. They weren't under the same pressure, so it was a better performance. And they get 2 first-half goals, and then they were largely in control of the game the entire time.
So Alex Morgan scores the second of those goals. She draws a penalty, Julie, on the first. And I remember some conversations not even that long ago, 3-4 months ago, where we were asking who is going to be the American number 9 at the Olympics. I think Alex Morgan's pretty much done with that conversation.
I think she made her case today, and also when she came in as a substitute against Sweden on Saturday, much more mobility, movement, threatening, getting into seams, getting into channels. And so she had a hand in both goals today, the penalty, as you said, and then she scored a great one on that second goal. So I do think it's been a question of just how long it's going to take her to come back from her pregnancy. She had COVID as well in January. She had a knee injury she was dealing with at the end of 2020. And so all those things slowed up that return a little bit. But the last piece of the puzzle is just getting her fitness back, getting her legs back, and she looks like she's almost there, which is a great sign.
Let's go back to that Sweden game real quick. It finished 1-1. Both Megan Rapinoe and Vlatko Andonovski afterwards said it was not good enough. But if we think really big picture, Julie, how much from that match is there really to worry about moving forward for this U.S. team?
Well, it definitely gives them pause, which I always think is a good thing. It makes that U.S. team, which they don't often get challenged in that way, where they were on their heels a lot against that Swedish team. They pressed, they put numbers around them every time they had the ball. They were disrupting them. They match up like the U.S. matches other teams. Sweden does that against the U.S. It's just a very good matchup, as we've seen historically. They play well against them. They're organized. And they're fit. They can stay with them 90 minutes. And so I do think it is a bit of concern. I think that's something they were like, oh, wait a second here. Timeout. This team actually can play. They were clean. They were getting forward. And that's the evolution of the Swedish team that I think is probably most concerning to the United States, is they've always been a good, compact, organized defensive team. But what you're seeing in this iteration of the Swedish team is they're getting forward. They're wanting to attack. They have the players in Aslani is, for example, Jakobsen on that right side, Sager in the midfield. You have some talent there on the ball as well that can score. And that's the real change. And so this is something I think that will be, as Megan Rapinoe said, it was a punch in the mouth, but they didn't lose any teeth. But still a great reminder for the United States going in, which they always seem to have in a big World Cup or Olympic year, that loss or that tie that wakes them up and just says, hey, a little bell.
When you talk about the Olympics, of course, it's all about that 18-player roster. Julie, we know there's some really tough choices coming from Vlatko and Andonovski. Over the course of the last 2 matches, do you think there's anybody in particular that really, truly helped their case?
Over the course of the last 2 matches, who helped their case to get in? We didn't really get to see much of those bubble players. So the ones that I'm thinking of that are on the bubble, right? We know that they're probably going to take 6 backs. And right now it's looking like Sonnet might be that 6th one that goes in. So it's looking between Midge Purse, we didn't see her, Alana Cook, we really didn't see her, and Sonnet, didn't see her really. So Sonnet probably still holding the lead in that. In midfield, we still probably need to figure out that Catarina Macario mix, the added benefit. Catarina Macario not with the United States team because of the Lyon COVID outbreak, part of that as well. So she didn't get to come in. Also didn't get to play much in the She Believes Cup, but she's a great midfielder that has a ton of upside, super young, who could also play up front. So I think that versatility will serve her well, even though she wasn't in here in this camp. And really on the bubble, Lynn Williams. So maybe Lynn Williams, who played in the first game against Sweden, who I thought was just okay. But what Lynn Williams gives, which I think Vlatko Andonovski loves, is she gives both sides of the ball. She's one of their best defenders they have as a forward. She can play and run box to box. We know she has the speed to get in behind defenders, but she also has the grit defensively to cause problems and help the United States on that front. So I don't think there was a lot of movement that I saw on those bubble players. Maybe actually just a little movement of, oh, okay, here's someone maybe who's not going to make it in. You could play yourself out as well, unfortunately.
39 matches unbeaten for the United States as they beat France 2-0. For Julie Foudy, I'm Sebi Salazar. We'll see you next time.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.